What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Greens Podcast. I am joined by some amazing women in cannabis, or should I say Filipinas in cannabis. Say what's up to Brittney and Geraldine.
Hello.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
We're super excited.
Yes. Thank you, Susie.
Of course. Welcome. What I love about this podcast is it's not something that I have like super scheduled out. I really have an episode when there's something to talk about. When there's something popping, when we need to be bringing attention into something we're doing, let's film an episode, you know? And I feel like this way has really helped this show become authentic, right? And not forced, because I feel like if I was to adhere to some schedule, I'd just be picking like just random person, you know, come in here, like, let's just talk to fit the quota.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't authentic to me. And I feel like the Greens Podcast has been something that has been like another arm to like, you know, what I've built, but at the same time, it helps me dip into these other worlds and get to know amazing people like you guys. So I'm really excited for this episode in particular because it's our preview episode for the 4th Annual Latinas in Cannabis Summit.
Yay.
You Greens Potters out there know, because I've been talking about this for years. So I'm really excited because, you know, Latinas in Cannabis has grown so much. You know, we started this community in 2020 and now, you know, it's to the point where I have to constantly ask myself, you know, how do we widen our table in a way that still adheres to our mission? So we're really excited to announce, you know, that this is the first year where we're going to be widening our table to spotlight Filipinas in cannabis. And I'm just so excited to be here. You know, Brittney, I really want to start with you. So for those who may not know the amazing work that you've done in the cannabis industry for so long, please let us know who you are, what you do, a little bit about your work and your journey, if you can.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you, Susie.
Yes.
This is the craziest honor to be asked to be on this and to be a Filipino representing this in this industry. So thank you so much for having me and for doing this for all the ladies and just for everybody. So thank you.
I'm so happy to. Honestly, like it's something that is like a pride and joy, because at the end of the day, it's ours, right? It's work. But like they always say, you know, when you do something that you love, it's like you're happy to do it. This is one of those things. Like I get to learn from you guys. I get to connect more deeply. And honestly, it's such a pleasure.
No, totally. And really, like, if anyone knows, I'm more behind the scenes. Like, I've never done a podcast. I've never really done an interview. So just the fact that you asked me, like, it's a super special honor. So thank you. Normally, I'm like behind the scenes doing all this. So it's really, really cool to like be merging those two worlds.
Well, we got to know the person behind the scenes, because for you guys out there, I mean, I know we have people who watch the Greens Pod in other countries, like, you know, Wizard Trees, like we know your work. And so it's about time we get to know the person behind the work.
Thank you. So right now, I'm head of marketing at Wizard Trees.
Oh, amazing.
Marketing and events particularly. We do a lot of it. We do a lot of events. We do a lot of experiences. We're all over the place. We're all over the world. And yeah, we have a lot of fun. And we have really amazing genetics. We care a lot about the brand, the details. First and foremost is how the flower smokes. Constantly coming out with new things. So we're just having a lot of fun right now. Really.
Fun is the truth.
I love my job.
I mean, even when we were in Berlin for Mary Jane Berlin,
Yes.
I mean, you see the lines and everything because people want to experience it, but they're also, you see the joy. You see the fun, you know? So tell me a little bit of how you've been able to unlock that joy and fun within your work.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I don't know if you know from a long time ago, but like, okay, so I started marketing from the very beginning of this industry, really. I think we all came from before it became legal. So I learned that side of everything in a little tiny trap shop in Wilmington in Long Beach, and literally just moving everything, learning that whole back end. Once it became legal, I then this is so crazy, actually. This is such a crazy story. So I went to school for broadcast productions. So I went to Washington State, did productions. I did all the back end, like commercials, little events and things like this. That was what I did in school. I went to New York. I did an internship. So I've always been productions, like behind the scenes. I had one of my friends in college like start like ladies cannabis like merch line. And he was just like, hey B, can you help me out? Like, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. So literally I reached out to every dispensary in SoCal and was like, hey, can you just like see this? Can you just like take this in? And only one dispensary like entertained me whatsoever. And so they came in, they did an interview and whatnot, and I ended up being their director of marketing for the next like 2 years.
Wow.
So they came in for one photo shoot, and I did their marketing for the next 2 years, and that's when I met like all the brands, and that was really fun. So I got to meet all the brands, all the brand reps. I got to meet all the big players, and it was just super fun. And that's pretty much when we like specialized in events. I got to meet a lot of people. I then branched out and started doing like my own events. And it's funny because I was thinking about it on the way here on how it like branched out from doing like dispensary marketing to then like my own personal brand and my own personal marketing. It started from a Filipino. I'm not even kidding. I was thinking about this on the way here. How did I get out of that? It's because you remember COVID?
Yeah.
Everybody trying to think of like how to be different, what to do outside the box. But dispensaries were crushing it. Right? So like
Essential
business,
business,
Essential
we were
business,
crushing it.
Yeah.
So really our events, I was pumping them out like crazy during COVID. And I just remember we did Cannabis Cafe at the shop, and I reached out to this Filipino chef. Shout out Chef Rudy, Cannabis Catered Events.
Oh yeah, I know Chef Rudy.
Filipino chef, and I called him in and I was like, let's do every Tuesday, let's do during lunchtime. If you purchase, you get a free lunch on Chef Rudy. And so he set up outside, and we did that for months. And it was just such a thing. And Chef Rudy introduced me to Wayne. Everybody knows Wayne.
Yeah, shout out to Wayne, THC Design.
Shout
One
out
of the
Uncle
best
Wayne.
event producers out there.
Wayne hired me from the very beginning. I did a bunch of
Oh, so
huge
you're
events.
a Wayne
I'm a Wayne
prodigy.
original.
Oh, you're a Wayne original. Shout out to Lee, who's also learning.
Exactly.
Like,
That,
she-
anybody who works under that man
Yeah.
is very well taken care of and has learned a lot. So shout out to them. But I'm telling you, Filipinos, like every single one of them. So yeah, Wayne, I did all those big events with him. And then from there, Rudy really plugged me in with a lot of other Filipinos as well. Those were more of like when I did the private birthdays, private dinners, private events like that, for like these bigger stars. And so that was really fun too. That's when I kind of just like figured out what I liked to do, what I didn't like to do. Little, private, big, da-da-da. So I was on my own for a long time doing like freelancing. And then really it was when Wizard Trees hit me up almost 2 years ago now to help them with Rolling Loud Miami. And that was just to project manage that job. And again, coming on to one project, now head of marketing and events 2 years later.
Because you became vital.
Oh my God. Hey.
And
Right?
I just put my head down and I just tunnel vision. From the very beginning. I just work.
Yeah.
That's it. Like bullshit aside, noise aside,
Yeah.
like nobody gets in my way. I just work. That's it.
And I think it just shows that, like, for everybody out there that's like, how do I get started? This is the advice I always give, and you're a perfect
From the
example of it.
bottom, you work.
But like you
Yeah,
work
literally.
and you show value.
Yeah.
You show these people that you bring value and you are not replaceable.
You're irreplaceable. That's the thing is when I show up into a room or when I show up into a building, like you notice.
Yeah.
Right? You make your presence known. You're not afraid to speak up. You're not afraid to be yourself. And that's okay. And you're either in the right room or you're not.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to feel that right away. Like I think we would know Latinas and Filipinos were huge on energy, right? Like that's just an ancestral thing, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And so you know when you're in the right room or not. You know when you're speaking to the right person or not, right?
It's true.
And my ancestors have guided me into every single right opportunity and right room. And I've really just like taken every opportunity and it's brought me here today. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I
That's
think it shows because
amazing.
your work is very much like a reflection of how you work. And it's also shows that you're having fun because the work shows that, like it reflects that.
We
you know?
have so much fun. That's the number one thing is we work really hard day in and day out and we play really hard too, which is really nice because we're all like the same age. We all are in the same life stage. You know, we
Yeah.
all have little kids and things like that. So we're all busting ass for the same
Yeah,
goal.
yeah,
So it's really awesome.
Oh, I love to hear that. And
That's
I think, yeah, it's great to see that like an authentic, representation of the work, but also working for you. And I think that, similarly, Geraldine, like I've seen you work throughout the years because you know so many colleagues that I've known. But we just
Yeah.
haven't had the blessing to finally connect.
I
But,
know the both of you.
but
I'm like,
same,
what a
same,
joy.
same, yeah.
No, but like,
There's
I
a
feel
cycle
like
of-
that part,
yeah.
like I feel like we're being pulled together at this time for a reason. So I'm like, okay, going with the flow here. But
Yeah.
I definitely heard of you and seen your work throughout the years. And I'm
Thanks.
grateful that, we're meeting now.
Yeah,
And so
me
when
too.
I was looking through all your stuff, I saw the word philanthropist.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she did that. And I'm a big fan, as a PR person, like I'm a big fan of like making up terms.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like every word was made up at one point.
Yeah.
We throw meaning behind it and it's a thing. And as a publicist for a long time, like anytime I've created something or Frankenstein something, I get pressed behind it and it's real. You can't tell me it's not, right?
Yeah.
If someone covers it, I'm like, bam. You know, that's how Latinas and Cannabis Day was created in 2021. I turned it into a holiday because I got like a bunch of press covered it. And so tell me
That's
about
amazing.
just made it happen.
I love that.
You're gonna tell me no? Well, Forbes said yes. So I'm sorry,
Force
you know.
collabed it.
Exactly.
Forbes collabed it. And so I think that's kind of the little bit of the vibe that you did with Philanthropist. I would love to know the story behind it.
I know. Well, thank you for asking and thank you for having me here. I
course.
feel so excited and like, like I feel seen. So
Yes, you are
thank you.
seen.
Well, the Philanthropist kind of came up as a little bit of a joke. When I was exploring my relationship with cannabis, I realized, it did all the things that people write about. It opened me up, but ultimately it made me more chill.
Yeah.
It made me embrace like the element of what it means to just be at peace with myself and even maybe manage the thoughts in my head. So I think when I got into the cannabis industry and I was kind of digging around and figuring out what I was going to do, I realized I was just studying the art of chill. It was either finding brands that were going to enhance the chill experience, whether they were like beautiful bongs or storage units, or it was brands, that made the emphasis around their product and their experience more chill. So that's kind of my whole thing. Like I call myself the Chillanthropist because I study the art of chill. And in every like lane I've been in,
That's beautiful, but it's also
is-
descriptive. And I think it reminds people that, you can, go down a path where you can learn something.
Exactly.
And all it's like, I think offering, right? Because it's more than just cannabis. It's a lifestyle. It's a
Exactly.
modality. It's medicine for so many,
Yep.
And I think studying it can remind people that, it's something worth studying.
Exactly.
right?
And a friend of mine would say, it's also like the idea of like Chillanthropy,
Yeah.
where I'm like spreading.
You give it back.
The act of chill,
That's so Filipino.
Yeah. Because cannabis
give
is
back.
is so about learning yourself
Yeah.
and the plant and your relationship with it. And I think for anyone that is canna curious, even some of us that have more experiences with it or are seasoned at using cannabis and know how it affects our bodies, I think we're all still canna curious at the end of the day. And there's endless things to learn about the plant. So yeah, I think whether I'm in, there's elements where I'm like building business relationships and things that I just love to share. And that's kind of where the Chillanthropist genesis.
Oh, I love
story
it.
is, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your work with On The Revel.
Oh yeah. So with On The Revel, it was kind of interesting how, well, I'm a New Yorker that lives in LA. And I moved here because of cannabis. I learned really quickly that I was like, oh my gosh, like cannabis is going to be adult use legal. I don't know when that's happening in New York, so I should learn from the state. And I didn't have any relationships. I kind of just found things online. Instagram was
Wow.
really developing in terms of brands being built and identities and people creating this lifestyle around like what this new modern cannabis consumer looked like.
Yeah.
And because my background was in buying and merchandising, I was like, they're going to need someone like me to merchandise and curate products. So I kind of went on this hunt. And long story short, through all these different relationships that I worked with, whether it was kitchen countertop devices, without naming any brands, a brand out of Humboldt, and really getting into CBD really early, I built all these relationships with people. And that led me to the relationships with the On The Revel founders. Lulu Soy, who I should always shout out.
Lulu and her
She
little
is
doggy.
a legend. She kind of really like saw what I was doing, really respected my work. And at some point she was just like, hey, do you want to support us? And it started off with really just content managing. They evolved from a meetup that turned into a conference, and they had an abundance of content that they were producing on their own, and they needed to figure out what to do with it. And at that point, then New York became legal, and their conference turned into a trade. Like they were like, we should probably do a trade show. And because of my background, I was like, yo, I've been on both sides. Like I've been an exhibitor, I've been a buyer, and I just thought, how can I help with this? And now I'm the head of sales there.
She brought that
So,
value, right?
yeah,
The
so-
same story again for all those
Yeah.
people that are struggling to get into cannabis. They're like, how do I even get there? You have to make yourself known in your particular area and be seen as the person to do it.
And I never would have thought that I would be someone that, because event production is such an incredible feat. But it's just like, I knew how to manage a lot of relationships, like whether I was on the retail side or even with the clients that I had that I was helping sell into stores.
Yeah.
I kind of understood both sides. So my role there is incredible in that I can work with operators from the state of New York or anyone on the ancillary side, you know, like your tech companies, your packaging companies, things like that, that are wanting to enter the space, or brands that are known in other legal states that are coming in. So it's kind of cool because, you
Like
know,
Wizard Trees.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say,
You guys
let's
are-
back up 4 seconds. Hold
Yeah.
on. You're head of sales for On The Revel?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
So you know that Wizard Trees was just the main sponsor
Yeah.
in May?
Yeah. 'Cause
And we're the main sponsor in
again, it's a
September?
ball. Yeah. That's why I was like, this is kind of cool.
So you sold us on
Yeah.
that. How did
Yeah.
that just happen?
I know. I mean,
And this just happened too.
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
didn't even know
Nice
all
to
that.
meet
yeah,
you.
nice to meet you too.
I'm like, we
feel
just had our first like portal call last
yeah,
week.
because I don't always put my camera on in calls, but I remember going to the Hudson one and I was like,
so
you look familiar.
crazy.
But then I was like, let's just do it in person.
I
like,
will say,
connect.
Revelry in New York, the most insane cannabis trade show that I've been to recently.
Really?
I
Yes.
love that.
The energy. Well, I mean,
'Cause it's New
okay. I
York,
mean,
yeah.
we've been to everything here.
Yeah.
Minus Berlin. Let's
Yeah,
back
oh,
it
yeah,
up.
that's a whole
Sorry.
monster.
I
Minus
just
Mary
went to
Jane
that.
Berlin.
She went too.
Yeah, I wish
She
I
was
knew.
there.
We're
I
all
know.
linking
Could you
back
Next
imagine?
time.
somehow.
Next time. Yeah.
I
Oh,
will
sorry.
say Revelry in May, we dropped in June. So it was before we even
Yep.
dropped. And the energy was insane.
Yeah.
And that was in Hudson. So that was up
yeah,
north.
I know.
They say that this one in September in the city is even crazier.
it's bigger. Yeah.
I am just so excited.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
can't
be
wait to
crazy.
see you there. You
That's
should-
gonna be
you should be there.
great. Wow.
Yeah,
I had
so-
no
Maybe
idea.
yeah,
we'll see what's
you're
up
always
there.
invited. So
Oh, yeah.
we got
Great
you.
right now.
Honestly, I went to the High Times event in Jersey in February when it was 2 degrees.
Oh yeah.
And I remember reflecting on that, the energy. I
Yeah.
just feel like with California, it's not that we're snobby or like been there, done that, but I think a lot of times, sometimes people have a hard time cheering for others in California.
Absolutely.
It just sucks, but it is what
Everyone's
it is.
jaded now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But over there, the awards in particular, people were cheering each other on,
Mhm.
waiting to hear who the winner was going to be.
Mhm.
Like really feeling like I'm going to be present and wanting to enjoy the flower. And I miss that energy. And I think that there are pockets in California that still have it, but I think so many people are so beat down
Mhm.
that I think sometimes that magic is a little shaken.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that I took a chance and left New York.
Mm.
You know, I didn't wait, and I think you're talking to people that might be listening to this that are curious
Yeah.
about entering the space and how to sustain. I mean, this is never easy, and I still have to manage other clients, even though this is probably like my biggest role that I've been doing for the last 4 years. But I love it. I think I thrive off of these sprints we have leading up to these events and understanding like what people need, whether they're like a smaller micro business and working with our partners who have developed more programs for them and opportunity, but also understanding like what does a big person that's globally known like you guys, what works for you?
Yeah, what's the bottom line?
Yeah,
right?
and how do we make it still feel that it's communal? Because ultimately everyone wants to make money and we want to create a space where they can do that.
Yeah.
And it's brief, it's a 1-day trade show event, but I think ultimately it's how we show up as a team and how, everyone brings that same kind of energy there too, which I love. And I feel like I'm constantly learning in that way,
And there is a place for brands to make sales, to do all that thing, but I think we touched on a little bit contacts, right?
Yeah,
the people that
exactly.
you make, that network growing, like yes, you get your work done there, but it's like the long lasting stuff and the intangible stuff. That's what makes events like constantly something worth investing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like maybe get it right away, you can build a plan to like get it back over time.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is really something that I believe in. Events are always going to be something I believe in. Whether budgets are there or not, like
Gathering.
make the most out of what you got.
Yeah.
Totally.
And events is one of those ways that you can really squeeze everything, And so I want to go back to a little moment that you said, making sure that you're providing something that people need, right?
Yeah.
So with Latinas in cannabis, that's something that was in my mind, because this is our 4th annual, y'all. Like, this is not the first time doing Summit. Like, this is something that was created because of a need, If we go back to 2020 when I created Latinas in cannabis, it wasn't something I necessarily was like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It was honestly because I needed a community. Like I saw so many women like myself, that had, a small business trying to make something and didn't really have a supportive ecosystem. So I thought, let me just create this online community to connect us. That's what I wanted to do. And then it just starts growing and growing. And then the companies start reaching out for collaborations. And I'm like, sure, and then the girls start asking for events and I'm like, sure. And then it became a monster of a community. And like my focus was never ever to exclude anyone.
Yeah,
it was just to put a focus on people who maybe don't get that opportunity,
like
right?
Yeah.
And so as it's grown, so has the responsibility to really look at what are we doing here? What's our focus? And where can we widen the table? Because at the end of the day, Filipinas, your trajectory, your journey, there are so many similarities to what Latinas go through. And so that's why I wanted to kind of make that shift, that like expansion, because I want to do it like with something behind it versus just like, ooh, we're going to do this. Like, what's the true meaning behind it?
Yeah.
So, there is a relationship between Filipinos and Latinos, and I want to unpack that a little bit more. And so I went and hit the internet and did a little research. I wanted to find out like what's going on. So I think in general, the Spanish colonized both the Philippines and Mexico and a lot of Latin American countries. And that has created kind of like a little bit of a shared experience. And so I read that the Spain they ruled the Philippines for more than 300 years, but there is a special Mexico connection because in general, one thing I've heard for my whole life is that Filipinos are the Mexican Asians. What have you guys heard? I would love to hear what you guys have heard over the years.
I've heard that like we're the Black Asians of the Asian community. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. My last name is Cueva, so it's cave in Spanish, so I understand those references. And any of my friends that were Latina, our upbringings were so similar. The traditions that our parents had, the emphasis on religion influencing their mindset, even just like gender roles, and giving back, like you mentioned earlier. I think always thinking about what your position is and how that affects like how your family looks.
Wow. Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, I think like there's also a negative side of that too, where in Filipino culture it's called hiya, which means shame. Like, like don't bring shame onto your family.
Oh, really?
And I bring that up because when I moved from New York to LA, the one thing like my dad said particularly, because he was like, cannabis, I guess,
There's the judgment.
Yeah. He was like, well, just don't do anything illegal. And I was like, ooh, what would I be doing that's illegal, but I think ultimately to me, I interpreted that as like being professional and bringing that to cannabis, because I worked with so many different people where that wasn't necessarily, there isn't a cannabis professional. It's like, I'm a professional, but I'm bringing that to the cannabis industry because it's so new.
Yeah.
But I think that also is a cultural alignment where we do show up in a certain way. Maybe we are buttoned up, we do the work, put our heads down, work. But we're always trying to...
I feel like we do carry ourselves a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think so
I don't know if it comes from our roots or how our parents definitely brought us up. But yeah, my mom was an extremely overprotective, old school Catholic Filipina. And I think that she raised, I went to a private Catholic school my whole life. And I think that really shapes who you are as a person. Yeah, my mom was completely against cannabis. I have 2 older brothers. One of them got in trouble for weed in high school and this and college and this. And when I was younger, I looked at it like, oh my God, he's going to die. He's going to go to jail. I thought it was heroin. Like, I thought it was so bad. You know what I'm saying?
I also went to a Catholic private school.
I said, I'm never going to do that.
Right? But I think that whole topic of shame, that is indoctrinated through the Catholicism.
Yeah.
Right. It's built through shame. Like a lot of joy is shame in the way that we're brought up.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And one thing that I saw through my research was, there is a deeper connection to Mexico than I'm kind of seeing explained here.
Mhm.
So remember how I said that Spain colonized the Philippines for
Mhm.
more than 300 years, from 1565 to around 1815?
Mhm.
Well, for about 250 years, New Spain was based in Mexico City.
Oh wow.
So there was actually, yeah, I know, there was an
New
actual
Spain.
Trans-Pacific trade network for more than 250 years, Philippines and Mexico,
Mhm.
straight up. So when we think about all of the Spanish words that came, the
Mhm.
food, the traditions,
The
like,
people.
but
Mhm.
also Catholicism and this idea
Mhm.
of shame being passed down. Like we
Mhm.
share that, I think,
Mhm.
very, very tightly for those
Yeah.
words. I want to touch on language a little bit.
Mhm.
So we got mesa,
Oh yeah.
silla.
Mhm.
That's same, right?
Mhm.
Same.
Chair.
Cuchara.
Oh yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
got kutsara.
Oh yeah.
Right? I'm seeing here Filipino from Cuchara.
Mhm.
I see camiseta with the K.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, that's just straight up.
Yeah.
Zapatos
Uh-huh.
with the S. Bintana,
Mhm.
window.
Window.
Yeah, we got trabajo with an H. Just
Yeah.
trabajo. That's just
Yeah.
the same word. Familia, familia,
Mhm.
right? Kumusta? Oh,
Yeah,
kumusta.
kumusta.
Yeah.
That's a como esta.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Pretty
I
much.
exactly.
was like
It's
going
like,
down this list
yeah.
and I was like, this is so extremely similar. What are a few words that are
That's
very
funny.
common in Filipino culture that would
Yeah, you hit a lot of them.
Yeah, those are some of the main ones, like everyday like phrases and terms.
Basura.
Oh yeah,
same.
garbage. Yeah.
It's the same thing?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I honestly
There's a lot
didn't
of-
even realize that. I just thought that that's what everyone called it.
Yeah.
Especially in
You know,
LA.
like, I was like,
Especially in
that's just what it's
LA. You
called,
don't call
basura.
it that? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure.
Mhm.
No, and then down to the food. So
Yeah,
adobo.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Adobo is very much, Spanish.
Yeah. So Filipino coded.
Yeah, and then not to give a whole preview before our welcome dinner, we will be
Mhm.
having an amazing Filipino Oaxacan
Yes.
fusion
Oh
meal.
gosh, so good.
We'll touch on that a little bit later, but it's gonna be great, y'all.
Mhm.
I just cannot wait. I just can't because I think that the dinner is definitely like an expansion of Summit, because when we started it in year 1, 2023, it was just a summit. Let's figure out this concept. And then, we knocked it out of the park. And then it was like, okay. And ever since then, it's really, really grown. And it's just something that's beautiful,
Love
And
that.
so I kind of want to touch a little bit on Summit and how this all came together. This year we're going to be having, like I mentioned, our welcome dinner.
Mhm.
It's going to be the 25th of September. Shout out to Wendy Zhang. She opens up her home every year for Summit, and she collabs with some amazing Latina chefs and puts together this whole experience. And so we are doing that again this year with an amazing Filipino and Oaxacan menu. We're going to be dropping all the details. Just keep a lookout on social media for all those promotions.
Mhm.
But something really special. And we're also going to ask you guys something a little later too. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to do, also part of my commitment to widening the table, is I hear some of the comments from people where they say, oh, it's Latinas in Cannabis, we can't go. Everybody's welcome. And I've said that a million times.
Mhm.
But there's going to be a few moments, and this one's going to be the fashion show. So at our dinner, we're going to be having a woman-owned fashion show where we're going to be spotlighting amazing women-owned brands like Ganja Chica, Latina-owned, Smoke Show, Italian women-owned.
Mhm.
We have plants, High on Plants, women-owned earrings.
Mhm.
We're also going to be showing our official Latinas in Cannabis wear. And we're also going to be featuring some amazing models. So wanted to ask you guys if you want to be models.
I love
Circle
that.
back to me after. But what we want to do is highlight culture in the
Oh,
fashion show.
amazing.
So we want to bring traditional
I love that.
Filipino fashion.
Filipinianas, yeah, with like the sleeves. Mm-hmm.
We want to explore that.
That
We want to
sounds great.
explore some Mexican elements, some Colombian elements, like all Latino culture, but featuring and really highlighting these women-owned brands. And the theme of the dinner is going to be collaboration over competition. And because, we've seen the
that.
energy of the industry the past few years.
Mhm.
It's rough out here. People keep saying it's going to get better. We're still waiting for that. But I think in general, we're seeing that people at the top, the people doing the work, we're collaborating. We're
Mhm.
seeing what's up. How can we lean on each other?
Yeah.
And we're not competing, because at the end of the day, if you're surviving, that's good. We need more of that, right?
Yeah. And for collaboration, it's about sustainability,
Yeah.
withstanding a lot of the retail challenges and
Yeah.
economic challenges and being able to find ways to work together and market and find your customers. So It's necessary.
You have to. And you have to. Like, your customers, like, are gonna be there, and if you don't activate to like engage them, someone else is going to. You know, that's why the events are so important.
Yeah.
And so with this event, you know, I'm excited to kind of announce some really cool panels too. So one of the new ones that we're gonna be unveiling is our influencer panel, which, you know, we've seen cannabis influencers. We leverage them a lot for our campaigns. And one thing that I've always been curious about is, what about their journeys? Because sometimes you see them come and go. You see them really do well. You see some that you're just kind of like, well, what's their day to day? So I'm going to put them on stage and we're going to talk all about that.
That's good.
I know, right? Like, what's their day to day? What do they deal with?
Oh, I'm
also, the
excited to see
mental
who
health
that is.
aspect of it as well.
Yeah,
Like, we need
good.
to unpack these things that I think a lot of times influencers don't get a chance to really like speak on these things. And so we're going to be dropping who some of these ladies are. We're already almost done booking the panels. And I think when we announce, people are going to be really excited to hear from some of these leading ladies out there. And then another one that we're unveiling is the journalism panel.
Oh, wow.
So if y'all know some journalists out there, be sure to nominate them. Storytelling in cannabis. I think that there are some amazing women out there who have been putting in the work, sharing all about the behind the scenes and interviewing the right people. So we're going to put them on stage about their journeys. And then, of course, coming back again, one of our most important panels, the Canna Mom panel, which I am extremely excited to welcome Brittney to be one of our panelists there.
I'm so excited for this one. You have no idea.
I love moms being celebrated.
I don't even know, because I don't really put it out there like that
Yeah,
on
of
social. But those who know, they know my kids are my everything. And this, I mean, as they should be, you know, right? But like, this is just so exciting to be able to touch on this subject actually on like a live, like in front of people who care to hear about it. And you don't have to feel ashamed to have kids or smoke weed or be in this, right? It's going to be awesome.
Yes, I want to touch more about this, Brittney. Like, what does being on a stage to be able to talk about these topics mean to you, especially at this point in your career?
That's a good question. I was just telling her, so like I'm all behind the scenes, right? Like I've never done too much of this. I'm starting to dabble now, and it's just really cool because my kids see everything that I do. So like all the events that we produce, like they'll see the aftermath and they'll see how hard I work and what I do to this, and then they'll see like the photos come out. They'll see the little Legos, they'll see the merch, they'll see everything. And they'll be like, damn, that's so cool. Like, that's so cool, Mom. So to have them see me on stage as a professional talking about my job, I texted them, on the way here, and they were just like, that's so cool. Because they watch
so
podcasts,
cool.
they watch YouTube, they watch, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like a little celebrity to them, to be honest.
Yes.
I love
But you're
that.
also
As you
showing
should be.
them, you're like showing them actually like what your work is and behind the scenes to be able to talk on it.
They already have such a creative business mind. Like I'm not worried about them. It's going to be so great.
It is. And we touched a little bit on that shame, like in terms of like a podcast coming out with you being open about talking about this. Like, what about you and your family? Do you feel like, them looking at the podcast also kind of legitimizes a lot of your work?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. I don't know if this has a huge thing to do with it, but both my parents actually passed away. So my mom passed away in 2016. My dad passed away in 2020. Wow. Both of them have obviously huge influence in my life. My family was very close, but my mom, being especially that Filipino ringleader of the entire family, my whole family crumbled when my mom passed away. She had cancer for 4 years, so we kind of just watched all that happen. Yeah. And really, like you said, like I hid it my whole life. I was like, you can't smoke weed. Like it was a hidden thing. Of course, I've been smoking since 15, but like it was definitely like a shameful thing. So really, it wasn't until 2016 when my mom passed away that I really stepped into that light and that role and embraced kind of this. And I've just had my head down ever since. And this is where I am now. Yeah. And now I have kids and they see me, what I do. And so it's really come full circle. And now I feel like, my mom's the reason why I'm sitting here today talking about it.
She's watching this right now.
100%.
Like, you go, girl.
Yeah. 1000%.
That is beautiful.
That.
It really is beautiful.
She said she always wanted to be a butterfly when she passed away. So every time like I see a butterfly during all the special events, all the special thing, I'm like, oh, there's a butterfly, there's my mom. And I taught that to my kids too. So it's like every time they see a butterfly, they're like, oh, it's grandma, look, it's grandma.
They're
And they say
looking
hi, they
for-
Oh, I
wave,
love
and they're
that.
like,
Aw.
they just have that little feeling, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
We're
special.
gonna manifest the mariposas at the
Absolutely,
summit.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, 1000%.
I mean, that's
so
beautiful.
nice.
And honestly, like, that's a big reason why we have the Canna Mom panel each year and why I cannot remove it ever. Like, we try to include, obviously, like, new panels, just to bring new conversations in and spotlight different sectors of the cannabis industry. But the Canna Mom panel is just, it's such an important, vital piece of the conversation that we're having, you know, and we have many professionals from different parts of the industry. So we do see that panel shift in its own way, but it still continues the conversation of like moms, you know. In past years, we've had women who have been vulnerable enough to share about their past history with raids, you know, issues with the school system, the shame and the fear around around it, you know, those kinds of things. So I think you being able to be on a stage with other women who can you know, kind of share a lot of your feedback and a lot of your lived experiences. What I've seen happen at this panel is beautiful. I've seen tears, I've seen laughter, I've seen like shouting, I've seen hugs, I've seen a lot of smoking. But it's a beautiful, powerful panel each year, and that's why it's one that I curate really, really specifically. You know, for those who wonder like how I curate panels, there is a process to it. I don't just pick names out of a hat, y'all. It really is a balance of, there are a lot of women in our community who've been writing with us since 2020 and have been wanting to get on a panel. So I make sure to keep an eye on like their work and making sure that, you know, we get them on when the time is right. But there are a lot of women who are just undeniably just crushing it, right? Who are like, hey, you guys need to be up in here. So there are people like that. And then there are people who, you know, if they're working for an amazing company and their company wants to sponsor, and at that point, a company sponsoring means that they're throwing their hat in and they're helping us create this event. So a lot of the times, you know, depending on the sponsor, they'll want to have their person on a panel and help us lead the conversation there. And then no matter what, we always make sure that there is at least one seat of every panel reserved for Afro-Latina. It's important that we have proper representation. Afro-Latinas are Latinas, and we make sure that we always, always, always have that space there. And that's always happened since our beginning. So that's a little more about how the speaker lineup kind of comes to life. And anybody out there that's always wanted to be a speaker, hit me up. Because I always have that person that Susie never picks me. Did you let me know that you even were down?
Yeah.
Because I've hit some people up, and sometimes the people are just like, I don't have the nerves for it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is that Latinas in cannabis, it's a challenge in so many ways for women. It's a challenge to be able to be there supporting other women. You'd be surprised. Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a growth thing. Some
Very
people,
true.
and that's not a dig. It just means that they're not there yet, right? For one reason or another, they're not able to show up for other women. It's okay. It just takes that person a couple more, you know, whatever it needs to be, a lot of self-confidence. And we want to encourage that. And we want to make sure that, you know, we're here for when they're ready, you know? And then another thing is, some people have a lot to say and then they get on stage and they're like, I want to say this once and for all. Everybody out there and you guys here, we have had people that have gotten cold feet and aren't able to get on stage. That's why now my process for picking speakers, like, it's a little more like, are you for sure ready?
Yeah.
You know, because the stage can be a little daunting, but it's important to face this, and you're with a supportive group so that you can face it. And what we've seen is a lot of ladies who hit our stage are at MJ BizCon headlining. They're at Ignite It. They're at so many stages because they've realized, like, I have something to say and people want to hear what I have to say, and I have the confidence and the experience to back it. And that's what I'm trying to let people know. Like, the stage is an exercise, but it's also, at the end of Summit, a lot of our alumni are like, I'm gonna go get this. I'm gonna do this. And I just love seeing that. Like, and I call it alumni because you're gonna get to know the other women on your panels, and you guys are gonna build relationships. I've seen like businesses start from Summit. I've seen like collaborations. I've seen people sell their brand in a dispensary. They couldn't do it for whatever reason, and they made that connection at Summit because people bring their walls down, right? And so, Canna Mom panel, can't wait for it. you, Miss Lady,
Yeah.
you're gonna be in the Canna Jefa panel.
Mhm.
So Canna Jefa, what does that mean? It's one of those words that I made up. Shout out to making up
I
words.
love that.
Me all day, bro. I
Yeah.
love making up terms because, like I said, I put the meaning behind it, and it is what it is. So Canna Jefa, cannabis. Jefa means boss, right? It means boss woman. So Canna Jefa. This panel is all about executives in the cannabis industry, business owners, people who are bosses in their own right, making it work in whatever way possible. Yes, some of them may be Canna Moms. Yes, some of them may be influencers. But I think this panel specifically is about the business of it all. We want to know about challenges that you guys have faced, how you guys overcame them, cultural challenges as well. You talked a little bit about the potential shame in the family. This panel really goes into that aspect. And what we find is that a lot of our women who come, or a lot of our people, not just women, because again, attendees across the board. But the people watching this panel, they're really taking notes and they're wanting to make connections. And then after the panel finishes, there's a lot of introductions, you know? So I want to know a little bit about what calls you to this panel. What are you excited to talk about?
Well, I think to be in cannabis, you have to be multifaceted. You know, you're bringing experience from other worlds, whether or not you're passionate about the plant. And so through the years, I've seen so many people level up and be empowered or start new things and find ways to collaborate and amplify others. So I'm looking forward to gathering these women and having that conversation live with them, and seeing how it's all interconnected. I think when you think about who's like a Canna Jefa, you know, you think about what it took to get them there. And I think we don't always shed light on the process of things, or never mind the things that, you know, bring you no chill, like the bad things that have happened, the bad experiences. And sometimes it's not to share it to, you know, for misery loves company, but almost to bring an awareness that, you know, you're not alone in certain areas. And I think some experiences that are shared can help people learn and grow and find ways to maybe not be in those situations again. So yeah, I'm excited to be part of that panel. And
you're gonna be able to bring in a lot of knowledge because, like you said, you're a multifaceted individual. You also have your own podcast, right? And you put on your own, you know, women on your panel, and it's so grateful to see. But I think one thing that you can definitely bring into the panel is that you can be different things.
Exactly.
You know? And I think especially with an executive panel like that, you'll find that we've had women who, you know, are the VP of something or an executive of something. And sometimes women like that have a hard time like seeing like themselves in, you know, to do other things. So I think you might end up inspiring some women to maybe do some creative endeavors as well.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I also want to say, you know, I think it's so valuable to separate moms and have a panel on Canna Moms, because from my vantage point, and I'm not a mom, but I feel like there's so many different ways to mother. And people might not be like a traditional mom, but when it comes to like a Canna Mom, I think that's even more interesting, because if they are a consumer and they are a professional and managing children, there's a communication that has to happen around the use of the plan, and also just like bringing light to that from a place of good, you know. So I'm excited for your panel, because I think that there's so much to learn from mothers, and you know, you guys are the best time managers. So
it is,
you know,
I love the practical advice that everybody can learn from on the Canna Mom panel too, because some people assume that, you know, I'm not a mom, what can I learn from this Canna Mom?
So much.
So much. Also just the emotional side, like I said, like a lot of women on every panel, it sometimes gets emotional because we just create this safe space where it'll be a little schizo sometimes. Like people are laughing, laughing, and then crying, and then like laughing. And it's just like, that is Summit, because it makes this space for that to be okay. And you can do that. Like, and so that's why I love this weekend. Like I mentioned, like it's no longer just a one-day event. We're doing, you know, Friday our dinner, long event, as we get really dressed up. We get all of the content, have a bunch of food. We have 4 bars, guys. We have our flower bar. We're going to follow up on what the flower sponsor for that. We have our dab bar, also follow up on that. We have an amazing spirits bar where we're going to be featuring a lot of small businesses there. We always love to support small business in every way that we can. And then we also have a THC drink and like non-alcoholic bar. And like I said, it's just a space where, you know, we want to make sure you ladies are treated and pampered in every way you can. And that is this a great way to kick off summit. Also, I don't speak at the summit at all. I do everything so that other women can get their spotlight, but I do speak at the dinner, and I do a special toast for all y'all because I want to bring you guys together, but I also want to honor you guys, and I want to say something, you know? So this is my opportunity to honor everybody, to say, you know, how proud I am of everybody. And also I think something along the lines of our theme as well. So the dinner is just, we just can't wait.
I'm excited.
And then one thing that we started as of last year that now I'm like, oh, we got to do it now. Got to raise more money, but it is what it is. We did a summit house last year. We call it LIC Content House. Basically, it's a giant Airbnb. We invite all the ladies who are staying from over the you know, other states and stuff, like driving in or flying in. We aren't able to do stipends just yet. One day we will. But so far we can give them a place to crash. And so that's basically our LIC Content House for the weekend. And so it's our hub for the weekend. The ladies go there after the dinner, before the dinner. We get ready there. We do gift bags there. And there's so many opportunities for sponsorship and branding at the dinner, at the summit house. Like, guys, we are onboarding sponsors. Like, we really are. I cannot wait to share who, because let me just let you know, it's going to be a lot of the top brands in California and beyond, because this is like technically an international summit. So people fly into this and can't wait to come. And so now I'm going to do a big announcement, y'all.
Yay.
I have to do this announcement because one thing that we really hype every year is our official flower partner. And the reason is that our flower partner is basically one of the stars of the summit. We like to specifically partner with a brand in cannabis that's doing really fun work. Like, they are showing up. They have a strong community. Their fans love them. The product is good, but that's like a necessity. Obviously, if we promote Boof, they will have my head. And that's one thing I love. Yeah, that's one thing I love about our community. It's is that they will tell me. They will tell me. And I love our ladies because they're very direct. Like, yo, we didn't fuck with this. Like, we did not like this. Or like, hey, this needs to. And so that's why we go with a flower sponsor that I know needs to reflect the industry. Who's popping right now? Who's doing it right? So everybody at GreensPod and a community at large, I'm so excited to welcome Wizard Trees as our 2026 flower partner for Latinas in Cannabis Summit Year 4.
We're very excited. We cannot wait to show up. We're going to show up in the fashion that we do.
You guys are going to show up the way Wizard Trees shows up.
Yep.
I mean, I cannot wait. I mean, we already know how you guys activate, but with your creativity, your ability to freaking knock it out of the
park. And being a women-specific event, we do love the ladies.
That's going to be
yes. But also, too, with your team, too, I've seen the way your team supports you and the way, and so I'm really excited to see your team members come and support you, because you're going to be on that stage representing your work, which reflects them, and that's what I love to see. So in our past years, year 1, we had Green Label RX, MSO out of California, Black woman owned, Latina owned as well. Year 2, we had Originals. Shout out to Originals. They always come through. A super great Latino owned brand. And then year 3, we had a CBX pull up. They had an amazing activation. And now every year, that flower sponsor comes in heavy. They do really fun stuff and all the gift bags. So just get ready to see what Wizard Tree does. And between the weekend, like Wizard Trees, all the brands that we're about to be announcing, like, you guys, I'm so excited for you guys to experience this.
It's going to be the biggest summit yet, I think.
It will be. It will be.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm excited, because people every year experience it and really, really feel like, oh, I didn't know. That's one of the things that I hear all the time is like, they come to Latinas in Cannabis and they're like, I had no idea. And I'm like, I know. So pull up. If you're not Latina, if you're not Filipina, that's not the conversation here. It's, are you able to show up for people who are?
It's that, really. It's like, I didn't start going to your events until like last year, when a lot of my girlfriends were going too. And I was like, you know what? There were so many nights that I went to your events where I was like, I just need a girls' night. I just need a ladies' night. You know what I'm saying? I just need
needed.
a mom's night out or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was really just Susie's events were always so women happy, focused. Like they really were a nice
love
place to
that.
breathe for a couple hours. It was so great. So
Oh, it means
really
a lot to
like,
me.
and every convo that I've had with you ever since, like, you know, we haven't like hung out for extensive amounts of periods of time. Berlin, we had a really good time.
Yes.
But like every convo that I've had with you has just been like one of those convos that you walk out of there that you're like, okay, that was a refreshing convo. Like I wish
Yeah.
we had more of those convos, you know? And there's not that many women like that.
Oh, that means a lot to me, y'all.
I get that a lot
100%.
from the women in cannabis, which I appreciate because I'm not outside a lot either.
No, yeah.
We brought you
You
out.
know,
This is
so
a rare
it-
opportunity.
It's nice. It's nice to have those real connections and take them offline.
No, so it's nice that it's expanding and you're and branching out and people are hearing about it and they want to be involved and that's exciting.
Yeah,
it
I'm
really
honored
is.
to be
Like
a part
I
of
think that I'm hearing the whispers already on social media. Like I cannot wait. And the Latinas in Cannabis Summit, it's something that definitely sells out every year. And what I love is that people like will get their ticket and like wait. And so one thing that we do to kind of hype it up is we're gonna be dropping like tips and tricks, like what to wear, what not to wear, how to get excited, and maybe we'll do a Cardi B thing. You know how what she does at her shows where it's like a theme, like a what to wear.
Oh, I love
Maybe
that.
I might do something there.
No,
Maybe
that's fine.
But ultimately, we want people to represent their culture. So
Yeah.
like maybe we bring in ask Filipinas to wear something a Filipina wear, or maybe
Totally.
you're sport your flag. You
down.
know, something like that. So we'd love to just get people excited for the holidays. You know, it is Hispanic Heritage Month leading up to also Filipino Heritage Month also coming. So it's just like we want to make sure that it's a culture, cannabis, sisterhood, supportive community with a lot of really good flower. One thing that Latinas in Cannabis does is we're going to come out with gift bags that are dripping in some of the best product. Like straight up. I mean, I'm just so grateful that so many brands support Latinas in Cannabis. They know what we're doing and they're like, yes, let's go. Yes, budgets are tough, but you know what? Budgets are tough regardless. People are going to invest in what works. And we're bringing in hundreds of people. I can tell you one sponsor right now. Catalyst.
Let's
Shout
go.
out to Catalyst.
Shout out
to,
Catalyst.
Shout out to the Catalyst crew. They're very supportive. I can share them because I know that they've been like absolutely for a while now. Like from the get-go, they're like, we're so
Ongoing.
excited.
Yeah.
And I love to see brands and companies that are excited because when they're excited, your fans are excited and everybody else is excited and then it crushes it.
Yep, it's contagious.
It's contagious, but events, they got to make sense for the consumer and for ROI. And this is definitely an event where everybody wins, everybody eats, and everybody celebrates. And I'm just like, let's go.
Yeah, damn.
I'm so excited. Anything you want to leave our community with? Where can they find you? What are you working on? Let us know.
You want to go first?
You can go.
I'm like, we have a long list. Of
I know,
things.
she's like, "We're off to school."
Wizard Trees doesn't stop working. We're doing a lot of fun things right now. We just launched in New York, as you know, so that's a huge one that we're focusing on. We are coming out with a bunch of new merch, a bunch of new genetics. Working on Mary Jane next year already. We're doing a bunch of stuff for a bunch of festivals coming up this year. So yeah, we're just all over the place.
Wow. Huge.
We're very
Well,
excited.
we can't wait to follow you along because that is going to be fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
So On The Revel, the Buyers Club is happening on September 18th. So that's exciting. I'm basically in a sprint to get there. And then on like my creative side, Pinay Fresh is gonna hit their 100 episodes soon.
Awesome.
So once we
Congrats.
relaunch that, I took like a summer break because I was like, I just need to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like launching kind of a culmination of all the work that I've done supporting brands and like a digital product around it.
Ooh.
So
wow.
yeah, I'm excited where, you know, people have always asked me for help in terms of like getting a product to market, but really to get it beyond that in the wholesale side. And I was running like my own like virtual showroom for a while where I was managing the relationship for brands and retailers. And it included like anything from dispensaries or independent shops and grocers and things like that. But ultimately, as the market has shifted, especially with CBD, I know that people are just needing more support in how to build those relationships, what to do at a trade show. So I am excited to share that and eventually launch that in the next like month or so.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah,
So
I
you're
hope
basically
to-
dropping knowledge for all the people.
Exactly. Because I think like at this point I could sell a lot of everything, but it's, in order for me to find new people to support, I think I also need to reach out and give something back. And I think strategy can come easily if you just plug it into AI these days. But I actually have the experience to back it up. So I'm looking forward to like releasing this part of like, these last 2 decades into like, tangible things that people can learn from and speak to me on.
I mean, you're basically chopping up a piece of your brain off and giving it. Like, people know how valuable that is. Like, this is the experience. People put in years for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for the gift for the community. I'm sure people will
eventually
take it and make the most out of it. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
I told you it was gonna be a fast conversation. And honestly, I feel like we could talk about this for so much longer because there's so many intricacies and and there's so many like aspects about it that we don't even touch about until like later on. We're gonna be like, oh, that was too, especially all the words, all the Spanish words, that's
I'm
gonna think about that. The food, right? And so all I'm gonna say is lumpias.
We've all had lechon.
Lechon, exactly.
Yeah, it's about. I mean, I previewed the menu for the dinner this year already. Wendy is so excited, by the way.
Oh, I can't.
Like,
wait.
I told Wendy, the chef, about this. Like, she almost like just hung up the phone. She was like, I'm already like talking to people. She's already putting it together. And she's like, oh yeah. And I think because Wendy, she's so like culturally like just involved where she like gets it, and I just love her and Christina are really good storytellers in their own right. And so we love them. They're definitely part of Latinas in Cannabis since the beginning. And they're a perfect example of like, you don't have to be Latina. You just have to like love that we like want to uplift our culture, and they get it. And I think because they have Mogu Magu and they're doing something similar. Yeah. So shout out to Wendy and Christina. We love y'all. Yeah, and thank you guys for joining the Greens Pod.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tickets go on sale soon, y'all. Get ready.
Let's
Latinas and Cannabis Summit, September 26th. Signing out.
Can't wait.
Peace, y'all.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're done.
That's a wrap.
Yay.